Right, Kieran Donaghy is with us this morning. Kieran, good morning to you. How are you getting on?
Morning, Ger. How are you?
I'm good. Does Jim McGuinness matter at this stage? Is it a good thing or a bad thing that we all know that Jim McGuinness was taking hand-passing drills?
I don't know. Look, I know the lads at the college down here in Tralee. I put a tweet up yesterday that won 3 Sigerson Cups down here. I don't know if they were part of all the 3 teams or not, but they were definitely down here together. So I don't know, is it a friendly help me out, see if you can spot anything? Is it something that could go on further into the summer? We just don't know. Would it be handy for Galway if Jim McGuinness was in an advisory role for a very short part of the season? Sure, of course it would. Absolutely demands he's amazing what he can do with a football team. We saw the way he turned around Donegal in that period of time, and he's certainly the more brilliant minds you can put together. The one brilliant thing Jim Gavin did throughout his Dublin career is he brought in as many brilliant minds as he could to try and help him, and it's a very smart move by Joycey, even if it's only one session. I'm sure it's a way that maybe Jim might be watching games. Could he be maybe analysing some opposition or stuff like that? So you just don't know what's behind it, but if it's a one-off session, it's a one-off session. If it's a bit more, it can't be anything but good for Galway.
And then the other aspect of this is that the gossip wildfire, as we know, there is no more centre of gossip than the GAA panel. Every GAA panel in the country is like, oh, Jim McGuinness, did you see that? Did you see that? What's that impact? Is it just mindless gossip, or are other teams suddenly, right, Jim McGuinness, who slayed the Dubs?
I don't think other people will be overly worried about it, but I just think it's a nice ace up Galway's sleeve if they could get him in some kind of a role, because just when you put a mind, especially defensive mind like him, and obviously Padraig's kind of offensive genius that he had in the pitch and that we'd seen in the early part of his reign with the likes of Shane Walsh really starting to express themselves with Damien Comer on last week. He's back fully healthy, ready to go. They have lovely footballers around there, and if they can have that counter attack, that hand passing drill that we saw yesterday was pretty similar as the way Donegal were coming out of defence and they're pumped. They used to sprint out every one of them and gamble and get the ball up the pitch quickly because they played with such defensive numbers behind the ball. So maybe you don't know what they were working on. The drill looked basic enough, but just the speed that he was trying to get them to go at, even though there was a few mistakes, so they have to do a bit more on it.
Yeah. I think the other thing is that if you're one of the Galway footballers, and Joyce is like, okay, we're leaving no stone unturned. There's 5 weeks, 6 weeks here for you to go and win All Ireland. Let's go and do it.
Absolutely, yeah. If you can get him, it's that's what I said. It's like a short-term season. It's it was like the way the club happened this year. It was also quick. If you can get somebody in that could give a helping hand for the sake of 7 or 8 weeks, and he's doing nothing else, you'll be all over it.
And the level, go on.
This is something that you kind of look at, Kieran, I was saying earlier on, that people will quickly have leaped back through Galway's form over the last year or so, and seen that this is significant in terms of your conversation about the All-Ireland again, because when you come back to reanalysing who's up at the top, who is pushing on, like Galway have the highest ceiling of pretty much any team in the chasing pack.
Yeah, I think themselves in Donegal, I don't see them being too far off it when all is said and done. And I think, if you can bring in just that extra bit of expertise into the backroom staff, you're only, it's not inconceivable that Galway have shown form over the last number of years. We all question maybe what they were at up front. Was it enough? I think Kim Walsh did a brilliant job in organising them, adding a bit of bite to them. And like Jim did that with Donegal. It was very defensive at the start, but then eventually he evolved it into something which is where Kevin Walsh was maybe trying to go. But look, Joycey's taken over a squad that it's in a good position. It's very well set up defensively. They know what they're about numbers wise, and it's just to add that bit of extra up front, and maybe they're putting their minds together on how they can do that coming from the defensive position to get up to maybe a counter-attacking Shane Walsh and Damien Comer up front. That could be very dangerous for Galway if they do get them numbers behind, and you can counter-attack to those type of footballers, which is kind of what Donegal did with at times when they'd McFadden and McBurty in there, and then they'd push Murphy in there. So they were a real workman-like team, and then get it up to the quality forwards, put it over the bar, and Galway kind of have all them pieces. It's just to put them together.
Are panels always happy to have an outside voice coming in so close to the championship as well? Is there any potential downside to that?
No, there's no potential downside. No panel. Like when you're out there training, something fresh and something new and a different voice is always good. And look, it's something that nobody is going to be upset about. Tabs, they'll know how intelligent and how smart this guy is. And if he came into the Kerry dressing room tomorrow and I was inside there, I'd be happy about it. So I don't think there's going to be an issue.
Is there ever any sense of snobbery from people within camps when they see an outsider coming in, as if that person doesn't understand our culture or anything like that? Is that gone in the game now?
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're trying to win in All Ireland. Your manager has asked somebody to come in. The manager obviously thinks it's a benefit. So if you're a player in that setup, that's what you should be thinking. You should be kind of going, okay, this is something new. It's a different angle on things. It's a different voice. Let's up it a bit. Let's see what we can get out. And if it is something that he is doing a bit more than just that session yesterday, I'd be very excited as a Galway player.
Last night, we must ask you on this as well, Kieran. Went to Game 6. Lakers beat Heat 106-93 in Game 6 last night. Bit of a hammering, all told. Not sure if you stayed up, not sure how much of it you actually saw, but the goal conversation is front and centre yet again. I was making the conversation to Jared that actually we're probably one more ring away from this debate being a really legitimate one.
We are, and I think I watched all of it last night. To be honest, I think Jeff Van Gundy summed it up best, or it might have been Mark Jackson, and said, like, this guy is obviously, he's on the Mount Rushmore, there's no doubt about it, but he's got the best basketball career of anybody that's ever played the game. So longevity, never injured, 260 playoff games, 10 NBA finals, 11 triple doubles, he's 4th MVP. Like, the numbers are staggering. The longevity over his career are staggering. The GOAT debate is just who's the best basketballer in their prime, and whether or not, even if LeBron didn't get a ring, he'd still be in that debate. For me, he doesn't pass out Jordan, but that's like the Messi Ronaldo debate. I think right now, I think everybody's going to be slightly different on it. I think probably the older generation, where we realise how good LeBron is, but we also realise what the game is now. And, it's a bit easier to play it's a bit easier to get a consistent run of games. He's a fantastic athlete. The way he looks after his body is amazing. The work he puts into his strength and conditioning is freakish. He's 35, but he's dunking like he's still 18. So he's just an amazing athlete. And, Jordan didn't have the same career. The games are played at different times. LeBron probably wouldn't have 260 playoff games in a row if he was going through the bad boy Detroit Pistons, because Bill Laimbeer would have, like he did to Jordan, tried to take his head off a few times, and he'd probably succeed once or twice. So, it's different if Jordan played now with the way the rules are. Is he up there with probably a James Harden? Is he like just nearly impossible to guard in a situation like that? So it's always hard when you're comparing generational talents in between decades and stuff like that. But let the debate rage on. It's not something to back down for. He asked for his goddamn respect afterwards last night. I don't know, was that in towards, I am the best player to ever do this, I am the GOAT? It kind of felt like that to me, to be honest. I thought it was a bit out of nowhere too when I heard it. It looked like he'd a plan to get that out there.
Right.
So it was interesting on that front, and but I'm happy for him, because when he got Game 5, I said, Jesus, if they do get Game 6, I'd hate to be LeBron to lose 3 in a row, and that question will come up again. So I'm kind of happy for him in a way, and I'm happy for the Laker organisation with what happened to Kobe and Gian earlier in the year, and everybody that died in that desperate tragedy. So it's a nice way for them to sign off on that, and a fitting way for it. And I'd say the Mamba was looking down on them last night just to get the job done. They were amazing. The defence they played in the first half was literally stifling. I was looking at the Miami Heat kind of going, what do they need? And the answer was probably a really fit and perfect Dragic would have been a huge addition to them in this series, because that was just what they were kind of short. Kendrick Nunn gave them little spurts. Hero and Duncan Robinson together is a bit iffy. I'd probably have them coming in for each other, but they're not far away. Jimmy Butler was amazing, but all props to LeBron and his crew and the Lakers for getting it done.
Kieran, good stuff. Thanks a million for joining us this morning. Cheers.
All right, lads, take it easy.
Kieran Donaghy giving us some thoughts there on both the Jim McGuinness story and, of course, the Lakers wrapping up in Game 6, the NBA Finals, and another ring for Kobe. Sorry, another ring for LeBron, obviously, and the year that Kobe was killed, as Kieran rightly pointed out there, in that terrible tragedy. You kind of forget that that was another thing that happened in 2020. That's it from OTB AM.